Dead Rock Chapter 21 is officially out, and this was an amazing chapter. We got some really cool epic action sequences, we got some tragedy, we got the start of the very next fight. A good number of stuff happens in this chapter, and I enjoyed it completely as I've been doing with every single Dead Rock chapter. But before we jump into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and ensures you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And if you want to see me talk about a bunch of other manga, go and check out my manga podcast, Shonen Pulse, on the Panel Focus YouTube channel, where me, Nox, and Yarogami talk about 9 separate manga from 3 separate magazines. It's a lot of fun. If any of these are stuff that you're reading, come and join the discussions. Or if you're looking for something new to read and anything that we talk about catches your interest, take a look and you might find a new favorite. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers on that one, so it'd be very much appreciated if you would check it out. Links will be in the description down below and in the title card up above. Now then, let's jump straight into Dead Rock Chapter 21. Chapter 21 of Dead Rock, titled The Rule Murmuring Death. Cover image is just Ryzen. That's it, nothing too crazy there. But the chapter starts off directly from last month as Setsuna revealed that she was going after God like Yakuto was. And so, everyone, as they're staring down, is wondering what they're talking about. After hearing her declaration from last chapter, Yakuto, with a straight face, just is completely honest that he has the same goal as her, and he wants to take down God as well. Which takes Setsuna aback, as Yakuto is saying they shouldn't be fighting each other, but they should be working together. But before Yakuto could finish his whole let's team up thing, in a 2-page spread, Setsuna just lunges on top of him, clutching his head between her feet as she raises her hand, saying, "You got the wrong idea." She looks so twisted and honestly kind of scary in this panel, I'm not gonna lie, and it looks really, really damn cool and menacing. As she then ends up, I assume based off the action, makes a fireball that explodes in Yakuto's face as she jumps backwards and lands on her feet. And once she does, she says she's going to take out God and become one herself, as she launches another attack at Yakuto, pushing him even further back. She settles down and says, "Work together, there ain't but one God." But Yakuto says, "We share the same goal. You just gotta kill him. I don't want to be him. We both want him dead." But Setsuna says that's too good to be true. The power to create earth, sea, and sky, to pick who lives and who dies, you ain't interested in all that power. As Yakuto says, "My goal is just revenge. As long as I can take him down, I don't care what happens after that." But Setsuna's not believing him as she launches another fireball right at Yakuto, as he's saying, "Why can't you understand?" As Setsuna says she doesn't believe in anything. She won't believe in anything ever. As we now head to her flashback, we go back to Fox Hill in the 419th level of the Demon World, as we see Setsuna with her childhood friend Yuri, as they're discussing the fact that the Black Dragons have kind of been killed off ages ago, and then none are left. Kind of funny, we have the Soul Survivor now, which is actually kind of funny. But yeah, she ends up wondering about like the Ice World. They talk about Hein and Cougar, RIP from level 306, and apparently Yuri knows a lot, and that she's actually planning to go to Dead Rock, and Setsuna ends up saying she's going to go to Dead Rock too, as the conversation goes to God, saying that he can do anything, even bring the dead back to life, as Setsuna, with starry eyes, says she wants to meet him. But then we flash forward in a very hard downpour, as it seems that Yuri went to the river and never came back during this massive storm. Setsuna goes to the river and sees Setsuna getting washed away by the current, as she then grabs a bunch of branches to make a raft, throws it in the water, and jumps in to save her. When she grabs onto Yuri, Yuri says, "Are you stupid or what?" But Setsuna says, "I'll be anything for you, stupid included," as she goes to tie the rope around Yuri, but then Yuri makes this bizarre looking hideous face saying, "You stupid or what?" This reminds me of that one character Mashima drew in the Tartarus arc that was the scientist for the 9 demon gates. I completely forgot her name. If anyone remembers, go tell me in the comments. Legitimately, I don't really care for that character at all, so that's probably why I'm blanking on the name. But either way, that's what I'm looking at here. Very weird and demonic, shocking Setsuna, as she goes on to say, "You didn't calculate the speed of the river and the strength of the rope. This is only gonna save one of us. As Yuri pushes Setsuna away. This one panel at the top of the page where Setsuna's talking about the calculating speed and whatever, the way her eyes look is just like possessed by like a legitimate demon. I know we're in the demon realm, but like this just looks so creepy and demonic that if you zoom in and it was added a bit more detail, it would fit right at home in a horror manga. But it's then that Yuri just starts crying about not wanting to die, as the log behind her then ends up going towards her and smashes the back of her head, protruding her neck outward and just flattening her head. This is relatively pretty f***ing gruesome. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what drove Mashima to be this gruesome with this character's backstory and this random side character's death. But, okay. I guess he just felt like being pretty weirdly gruesome for this one, I guess. But yeah, Yuri dies, but then we see this white figure just spurts out of her body and ascend into the sky. As we cut to sometime later, with Setsuna just trying to make terms with what's going on, saying that Yuri was acting so out of character to do something like that, and something came out of her body, and that's probably what made her act like this. As, with tears in her eyes, Setsuna says, "I'm gonna become God, and I can get you back." As we then cut back to the present, with Setsuna charging up another flaming fist at Yakuto, as she says, "I'm gonna bring my sweet Yuri back to life." But Yakuto says he understands, and so he'll carry out her wishes for her. As Yakuto then charges up his black dragon fist and clashes with Setsuna. And the way Yakuto is drawn in that one panel, just being incredibly serious, I love it when Mashima draws like that. It adds up the intensity. Setsuna says, "Carry him out for me," as then we get an awesome panel as Yakuto forces back his fist to launch another massive blow, as we get an image of the monochrome dragon that he has become, saying, "I'll carry all your feelings and sorrow with me and take God down." And this panel just looks awesome. It legitimately shows a lot, and I mean a lot of intensity, and every single time we see Yakuto have this like dragon aura, legitimately one of some of the best panels in this series. As then, in a flash, Yakuto, in a 2-page spread, manages to completely, seemingly rip off Setsuna's right arm, knocking her back. As she falls to the ground, Yakuto says, "Please leave the rest to me." But with that, Setsuna's down for the count, seemingly, as the announcer says that Yakuto is the winner. But just as when Yakuto breathes a sigh of relief, God says not yet. As he then says that Setsuna is still breathing. We can't recognize him as the victor until she's dead. Which shocks Yakuto, Hani, and the crowd, as Yakuto says, "Then I withdraw from the tournament." But God says no, that's against the rules too. "If you break the rules, I'll punish all of 1F," as his left eye goes black. And legitimately, every single time he gets even a little bit serious, the aura that comes off of him just gives you goosebumps. Now, yeah, we all kind of assumed this is a fight to the death. I guess everyone kind of assumed, they can't fight anymore. They aren't going to be able to fight and then automatically winner. But no, you have to kill your opponent. That's the only way things can end, and that is hardcore. And Yakuto is furious as he's trying to hold himself back from this shocking revelation, I guess. But Setsuna says it's okay, telling him to just kill her. As Yakuto is just staring down on her, with Yuri saying, "I heard you killed your teacher the first day of school. You're kinder than I was expecting." And Yakuto is just really trying to reel things back, with God telling him to kill her. But as Yakuto clenches his fists, with Setsuna telling him to handle the rest, in an instant, she is stabbed through the chest and instantly killed by Eiji, who just jumps onto the battlefield in an instant. As to the shock of everybody, Eiji then goes to God and says, "As long as she's dead, there's no problem, right, Principal?" As all God does, with a sinister smirk, is nod his head in agreement. And man, Yakuto is pissed beyond belief. As Eiji just says, "I'm up against Yakuto next. Let's go." But God tells him that's not quite right. Doesn't anyone understand the rules? Eiji's fighting Frey next. In protest, I believe this is AG saying that Frey can't move and that he's just gonna win anyway. But God says these are fights to the death. You can't win until your opponent is dead. Annoying AG, with Yakuto pissed beyond belief as Frey's in no shape to fight, and Celicia saying that you're trying to kill her right now. But it's then we see Frey finally return, saying, geez, why is everyone shouting? I wanna fight. As she is back up, yes, bruises and burns all over her body with some bandages. Seems like her right arm just got reattached. You can see the stitching right there. And she's in a new top. With a smirk on her face, Frey is ready to fight. As the chapter ends. While yes, this is relatively fast-paced, I actually really enjoyed this. Now, the Frey stuff, I'm kind of half and half on. One, Frey kind of had her big moment in her last fight against Lauzen, so even if Majima wanted to make it, okay, she's very injured and weakened from her last fight, she's not going to be able to beat Eiji, because he's still, like, completely fresh, he's got all his energy. I honestly don't know how that fight's going to go, and even if Frey dies, I don't think it's going to be as emotionally impactful as with the Lauzen fights, because that had a lot of stakes and personal stakes, not just emotional, but personal stakes tied into it. So that was the perfect place for her to potentially die in a very satisfying manner. I was kind of hoping that the fact that she can't fight anymore, she's automatically withdrawn, but I guess God has other plans, I guess, wanting to thin the herd for whatever. But now, this also presents another issue. If Frey does kill Eiji and win, A, we're going to be robbed of a fight between Eiji and Yakuto, but also Frey and Yakuto will have to fight, ending with one of them having to kill the other. So I'm still curious to see how this is going to go. If Frey beats Eiji, fine. I would have loved to see Eiji fight Yakuto, but if Frey and Yakuto fight and they just decide to go all out against each other, no matter what happens, that could also be emotionally charging for a big fight that could lead into Frey's death, which would definitely add a lot onto Yakuto, but then again, if he leaves her enough intact, Mikoto could just bring her back as a zombie, for all we know, if there's enough intact of her. Honestly, that could still happen with Eiji also, but I don't know, it is what it is. But I do like the misdirect that Setsuna was being set up to potentially be an ally, but then instantly got killed off in that one instance. But again, maybe Mikoto could just bring Setsuna back to life as a zombie, just like she did with Ryzen, and that's kind of a workaround for all we know. Because I do feel like there could be something for Setsuna to be the new 7th member of their group, because I don't think Babel's going to join Class F, but it is what it is at this point. I still need to mull some things over, but overall, good fight this chapter. I like the backstory. Yakuto had some aura-defining moments again, and we got to set up for the next semifinal match, which is Frey versus Eiji. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go as we lead into things. But how did you guys feel about this chapter and what's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with that all said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.